So this variety Nebbiolo, la nebbia in Italian is the fog. So in theory, in the textbook, this variety needs the foggy conditions of this hilly country known as the Langhe geographically, in order to grow properly. But it does get super hot. You know, it gets 40 degrees at harvest time there. But it needs to get its water from a snowy winter, and it needs that fog. When you're there, almost every day of the year starts with a hazy mist anyway. So it's omnipresent. But when it clears, you get these most spectacular views of the Alps from this area. But Nebbiolo itself, as a dry red wine, only has a history not that much more than 100 years old. It used to be a variety making mostly sweeter wines for reasonably early consumption, but it's a variety that's had a reputation as the main game for over 1,000 years, for a long time. Successive famous characters in history, popes and Napoleon, had remarked on this variety Nebbiolo. So eventually, it came to be taken seriously in the places where wine was taken seriously. You know, in Berlin, London, Switzerland, in Zurich, for example, in the where those things were important. Nebbiolo is very food friendly. If you take it at its two senior wines, Barolo and Barbaresco, from two zones nearby surrounding the marvelous town of Alba, Barolo is not for everything, because it's a serious wine, because it's a wine that unfolds like great Pinot Noir Burgundy wines do. It's a wine that unfolds, and it's not for casual dining necessarily. The other serious zone though, Barbaresco, they're wines of more freshness and liveliness, and they then expand the range of foods that you can use it with. But really, Nebbia, at the Nebbiolo, the Barbaresco and Nebbiolo level, there's not much they can't do. You know, a Malaysian prawn curry, a pizza, any of the any darker, more earthy dish from North Africa, jump from cuisine to Peking duck. It's a variety because of its complexity. It's interesting. It unfolds. It's got tannin and it's got acid. The things that and as long as it's a balanced version, so the Barolo needs a bit of age before it does it, but the Nebbiolos and Barbaresco are ready a bit sooner. They'll sit on the table and open up for you immediately with almost any main course type food. Yes, Nebbiolo is extremely age worthy. It can go decades without any trouble at all. Even at its more approachable level, the fruitiness, the tannin, and the acid are the preconditions for a wine that can take age, in other words, last some time, but B, get more interesting, develop complexities. That's what complexities are, a range of characters. But as you move up into the more serious ones, they have proven themselves to be the other most age-worthy red wines. Barbaresco and Barolo can go for decades, as Bordeaux, Great Bordeaux, and particularly Burgundy can. And so that does mark them as amongst the great wines of the world. What that means is that they develop secondary characters, and so they get more interesting after their initial area characteristics, the grape characteristics, and the characteristics of the piece of dirt or the terroir that they come from. They develop secondary characters, making them more and more interesting. We've had them 50, 60, 70 years old and being more than just curios. Fascinating wines.